What's going on, everybody? Guns and Gains here with an install video for you today. Today I'll be installing these Magpul polymer rail sections. On the left here we have the MOE polymer rail section, and on the right we have the M-LOK rail section. Obviously there are some differences between them, so let's take a look at them. First thing, the most obvious, is the attachment. We have a T-nut attachment for the M-LOK rail section, and we have a weld nut for the MOE rail section. The T-nuts do make it a lot easier to install. You do not have to take off your handguard to install the M-LOK rail section, and you do have to take off your handguard to install the MOE polymer rail section. And if we look at the back here, you can see another difference. On the M-LOK rail section, you have this lug in the middle, which if I grab my handguard, and you can see it locks against the M-LOK system here to give you a better hold. So basically locks in between the two nuts to give you an extra place to hold. And on the MOE rail section, it does not have that, so nothing comes through to help lock it into your handguard. So that's the biggest difference I saw. The other difference is the holes are not in the same place. Even though these are both 5-slot rails, the holes are closer to the ends on the M-LOK rail section than they are on at least on this end, than they are on the MOE rail section. But I will be showing you how to install both of these here today, so without any further ado, let's get to it. Alright, before we start working on the gun, just want to check to make sure that it's unloaded, and it is. I have already taken the handguards off of the gun. Sometimes it can be a pain to get them off, but especially since I don't have the delta ring removal tool, so I just did it off camera to save some time. Alright, we're going to start with the M-LOK rail section first. The tools you'll need are a 1/8 inch hex wrench and a pair of pliers. So you have your rail, and then you have your handguard. So I will be installing this rail on this Magpul MOE handguard, and I'll be using it for my Tapco vertical grip. I will have a review on this grip coming out very soon. Stay tuned for that. So you have your rail section, and you have your two bolts. Your bolts go in, one goes in each hole like that. They drop in, flip it over, and they will come through. And then you will take your T-nut, which has a little ledge on this side. That ledge goes down towards the bolt like this, if you can see that. And then you want the distance between this T-nut and the rail section to be the thickness of your handguard. So you want, obviously, if you have a polymer handguard like this Magpul, it's going to be thicker than, say, a free float handguard, so you're going to have to tighten them less for the Magpul handguard, the polymer handguard, than you would for a free float handguard that is made out of aluminum or whatever. So you're going to drop it through, then you'll place your T-nut on the top, and then I'll get it started here. That one started. And then on the other side, same thing, get it started. Now I do have the handguard off for this installation. You do not have to take the handguard off to install the M-LOK rail section, but you will, and I will show you why for the MOE rail section. But anyway, you're going to clamp your pliers around the T-nut, and then your hex wrench will go into the bolt on the other side, and you just tighten down. You want to make sure that you tighten it down the same amount on each side so your rail section sits flat on your handguard, whatever handguard you have. So same thing on this side, just tighten it down. Alright, so that's what the T-nuts look like installed on the rail section. So now we will try to install it on the handguard. So this is the front of the handguard. You can tell it's got this little hand stop right here. So in order to put it on the handguard, the T-nuts must be in this orientation. Both of them must be straight. And then you will slide the rail section in. All you have to do to lock it in is give your hex wrench a 90-degree turn, and then it'll lock in. So from the other side, you can see, and turn, and then that is locked in. So very simple installation for this rail section. That rail section is on there now. Now let's move on to the MOE polymer rail section. Alright, for the MOE polymer rail section, you will need the same tools, the pliers and the 1/8 inch hex wrench. And this one I found is a little bit more challenging because these weld nuts are a little bit more difficult to get attached. But I will be attaching it to the upper part of my handguard on the right side here, so I can use my budget-friendly AR-15 weapons light and mount. We'll have a review on this as well, so stay tuned for that. So this one, it does not have the lug in the middle, so you're going to have to be careful where you position it, because the holes for the bolts will not always line up. Like you can see here, the one in the front is completely exposed while the one in the back is half exposed, so you're going to have to be careful where you put it. And also the rail section likes to get canted up and down sometimes, so you got to make sure you screw it on. You don't tighten one side down completely and then the other side down, so you want to tighten equally, because it'll end up like that, and then your weapons light or whatever you're attaching will not be straight. So I think I'm going to attach it right here like that. So same process basically. You're going to drop your bolt through, and then these weld nuts have a little extension on the top there that goes towards the bolt, so like this, and then you will tighten it down, and then you want this distance in between to be the thickness of your handguard again. So very similar, but you do need to take off your handguards to attach the MOE rail section. Attach your rail section before you put the weld nuts on, otherwise you will not be able to get the rail section on your handguard. I'll get these weld nuts started here, and then I will show you how they're supposed to sit in here, and then hopefully I'll be able to get them tightened down. So that one is started, and almost. And that one is started. All right, so when you get it all tightened, I believe you want the weld nuts to sit flat like that. I mean, you could put them like that, I guess, but I'm going to set them so they're like this, just so they're nice and out of the way. All right, switch the camera angle, bring it in a little closer. So all you're going to do once you get your weld nuts started, you're going to grab onto it with the pliers from one side and go in with your hex wrench from the other side and tighten it down. So like I said, you want to go one side and then the other side. That way make sure your rail section doesn't go on there crooked, because then whatever you put on there is going to be crooked as well. So I'll get these started a little bit. That way you can move it around. See that? It's a little crooked. That looks pretty straight right there. So now we'll give these their final snug down, and they'll be on there. All right, that's pretty solid. All right, so those are attached pretty well. All right, so there's the weld nut attachment, and on the lower part you can see the T-nut attachment. And you can see the differences between the two. The T-nuts are definitely easier to get on there. The weld nuts are a little bit more difficult. So let's put the hand guards back on the gun and see what they look like. So there's the MOE rail section installed on the side there, and the M-LOK rail section installed on the bottom. All right. So obviously the advantage of this is if I don't like where it's at, I can just take the rail section off and move it to wherever I want. They look pretty nice on there. We'll see how they work with my accessories, and I'll show you that video coming up on Guns and Gains. So if you don't want to miss it, please subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve my videos, also leave a comment. I'm always open to constructive criticism. So this is Guns and Gains. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.